Hi, lately I've been getting some comments on showing the deployment part for the 5-hour long NextJS course. There, the frontend was on NextJS and the backend was running on NodeJS. So I actually had to take some time to create the tutorial. So I've created something similar. Here, the root domain is running on a third party, something like Netlify and all, but all the subdomains are running on a single Nginx server that is running on a single EC2 instance. Here I have a simple subdomain dev.native.in which is having a single h1, but here I have another subdomain which is having a static site. This can be your Next.js or React running on port 3000. Then again I have another subdomain which is api.native.in which is having Node.js and using Express as web framework and using PM2 as process manager. And the fourth subdomain that we have here is for the tracking of all the services here. This is Uptime kuma. You can find it on GitHub. This is open source completely, and this is using Docker containers to run this whole thing on port 3001. And the interesting fact is that this is also using SQLite underneath. And now to get started, you first have to have an EC2 instance. For that, you have to create an account on AWS. In case you are new to AWS, you also have to create an account and you need a credit card for that. In case you are not doing something really intensive, CPU intensive or heavy, you might not be charged. For that, you have to first come to EC2, which stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. You can also search for that EC2, and here you get this instances running. In your case, it might be 0. You have to click on this and you'll see all the instances you are having in case you are having some. And here we have to create an instance. On the top right, you get this launch instances option. Click on that. You have to provide an alias or name. I would simply do a tutorial, and you get to choose some OSs. So they have Amazon Linux selected by default. But for server related tasks like this, I would simply choose Ubuntu, and Ubuntu's version, I would choose LTS version 22.04, and architecture would be 64-bit x86. And the instance type, this is really important. You choose T2 micro, which is a free tier one. You can also go up to T2 medium, but on top of that, you get T2 large, which costs really high, like 0.1 USD per hour. So I would simply for sake of this tutorial create T2 micro. And then comes the security part, key pair. So you if you have already some instances and all, you can choose some key pairs, but I would create something from scratch. I would name this key like tutorial key, and the key pair type should be RSA, and private key format should be PEM, as we are connecting it through terminal. Now let's click on create key pair. It will automatically download a key pair for you. You can see .pem file, and don't ever lose this, or else you might not be able to connect to your instance using another terminal. But there are some other ways. I will also talk about that. And here in the network settings, you get this all option, and you can also take this option, allow HTTPS traffic from the internet, and allow HTTP traffic from the internet. And you can also choose this option like from where you can actually log into your instance using SSH. You can choose your specific IP if you have a static IP, but for my case I would just keep it 0.0.0.0, which is anywhere basically. And now storage, I would keep the default storage and click on launch instance. It would take some time to launch your instance, so hold on to your seats. Now it might have successfully initiated launch. So on instances I have clicked. You can see the instance state is pending for my tutorial instance. It would take some time. Till then you can just simply click on this one. It will show you all the details about this instance. This is also having a private IPv4 address, which is not actually static. You need a static IP. For that, I would simply go to the left. You get this elastic IP. Click on allocate elastic IP address, and simply click on allocate. Now you have a elastic IP address. Now click on this, associate this elastic IP address. Once you click on that, you will be asked to choose the instance. So I'll simply click on this tutorial 1. I have chosen the instance and click on associate. So this IP is 13.200 point something. Let me go back to the instances, and once I click on the new one, you can see the new IP has been assigned to our newly created instance, and on right you get to see that elastic IP addresses. Yeah, now we have to connect to the instance. You can click on this connect option. You get 4 options. Using EC2 Instant Connect, you can simply connect using the AWS. You don't need the private key for now, but as I want to connect with SSH client. So I'll simply click on this SSH client. At the bottom, you get this simple SSH script, which takes input of your key that we just downloaded a few minutes ago, then the username and the address. So I'll simply copy this one. And by the way, we have to move into a different folder for all the tasks. Here I have the private key of my instance that I downloaded, and we got this command, SSH command. I will simply copy this and come to my directory. Now I will simply click on git bash. In case you are using Windows and you don't have git bash, please use WSL or install git bash. But as long as you are using Linux or Mac, you're completely fine. So I would simply create a file, touch login.sh, and it will create a login file, and I'll do nano login.sh and paste this whatever I had, and simply save this and cut this one. And once I click on login.sh, it will simply log me in. Are you sure you want to continue? Yes. Yeah, we have now currently logged in to our instance. I'll simply do present working directory, and who am I? Yeah, you can see the user is Ubuntu. We have now initiated the connection to our instance. So I would simply go back to the EC2 one. Yeah. So the first thing we need to do, that we have to connect the domain. For that, for the domain name thing, I have logged into my Namecheap account. I have a few domain names here. In case you don't want to buy any domain name, you can just simply head over to free domain name providers, but all the domain names are kind of cheap. You can grab any for 1 year. It would cost you around $10 or something. I would simply performing whole thing on this domain called ocode.dev. Click on manage on Namecheap. You might be working on GoDaddy or any other domain registrars. That does not matter. All these things can be found if you dig around. So I have this advanced DNS option. I will click on this and I will be able to add some records. So okay, I have to change the DNS type. For that, yeah, we have all this. So we can also do, if you don't want to damage your existing domain configurations and all, you can use Cloudflare. So you have to create an account on Cloudflare. It's completely free. Then I would click on add a site, and domain name should be ocode.dev. Click on continue. Then it will prompt you to choose a plan. I would simply click on the free one and click on confirm plan. It would take some time. Yeah, now it will scan your name servers and all. Current name servers are for Vercels. It will also include the current name servers to its existing A records. So I'll click on continue, and it will give you its own name servers. I'll simply copy this one and replace with Vercels on. No need to worry, it will keep the existing name servers to its A record. So I have copied the second one as well, and I will replace both the name servers and click on tick. It will take some time to update or propagate all the name servers. You can check for name server updations on NSLookup or something, and I will click on continue. Yeah, continue to ocode.dev. Switch domains and more from configuration, dismiss, simply dismiss. Yeah, once you have set this up, you'll click on DNS. Now in the DNS you have this root domain, which is I guess pointing to the IPs of Vercel. Now what I need to do is that I would simply go back to the instances, click on my tutorial instance, and this is our elastic IP. I will copy this one and add a record. Click on add a record, and in the A this should be type A, and we could create a subdomain like maybe dev, and IPv4 address should be the elastic IP, and you can turn off the proxy and click on save. Now we have a subdomain called dev.ocode.dev. Now we have to install Nginx as well. Clear. We have also logged into the EC2 instance. Now here you need to do sudo su for super user, and now apt get update, sorry, apt-get update, spelling is wrong, update. It would take some time to update all the packages and all. Now you get to install Nginx. apt-get install Nginx. Yes. Now once Nginx is installed, I would simply do systemctl status Nginx. You can see active and running. So now I can head over to dev.ocode.dev. So I would do dev.ocode.dev. Yeah, probably some configurations are not right. This is the Vercel's error page. I think the A record is not live yet. Let me check up ns lookup, or we can just simply name server check. I forgot the website name. This was probably what is my DNS.net, right? So simply do ocode.dev and look for A records. Click on search. It would show that it is updated. Now let's look for dev.ocode.dev A record. In some regions this is updated with the elastic IPs, but in some regions it is not yet updated with the new IP at all. So I guess we have to wait for some time till all the regions have updated it with the elastic IP. It's been 10 minutes, but yet some of the regions have not updated the A record yet. So simply move forward with all the rest of the task. So I would come to Cloudflare and add all the A records that we would be adding in the future. So I would simply do that right now. The subdomain another would be api.ocode.dev. Let's not proxy this one, and IPv4 would be this latest one. Yeah, click on save. Another would be for Uptime. I would name this uptime.ocode.dev, and IPv4 would be again this proxy don't. Yeah, these were these three subdomains that we will be working on. And let's come to I think we need to set up Git as well on our server. So I would come to the instance. I would do ls. Yeah, the connection is not broken yet, so we have to log in to our Git account on this instance. So for this, simply I would go to the root. Yeah, we I guess also have to log in as a super user, right? In the root we have cd root, then let's do ls-a. You get this .ssh, and in order to work with SSH you also have to install SSH open SSH client. So simply do apt get install open SSH client. This takes some time. Now this has been installed. Let's create an SSH key. For that the command is ssh keygen. Then comes an option t, which is type should be RSA, then bits, number of bits, which would be 4096 bits. Then comes comment, which is hyphen capital C, then your email address. So email address should be for the GitHub account, which is mine. This a bit weird, I know. And this would create a private RSA key pair. You can also add enter file in which to save key. I would simply do ID RSA would work for me. You can also add passwords and all. I would simply keep no passwords. You have to also add this key. So for that, I would turn on the SSH client, eval $SSH agent, then -s. I guess this is the proper syntax. Press enter. This would give you a PID, process ID. You can make sure that the SSH agent is running. Now let's do SSH add, then the absolute path to this ID RSA. But before doing SSH add, let's check this cd2.ssh and ls. You can see ID RSA is already there. And now let's do ssh-add, then absolute path to this one, then .ssh/id_rsa. Identity has been added. Now you have to copy the public key. For that, I would simply do cat id_rsa.pub, which is this one, and press enter. This is the public key. I would simply copy this. You could also use xclip and all other packages, which simply gives you copying feature on a single command. Now we have copied the SSH key. Now I have a spare account, GitHub account, my secondary GitHub account. So it simply come there, and we have to go to /settings/keys, but you can also go to your profile settings and this SSH GPG keys. Now you have to add a SSH key, the key we just copied and generated, and once pasted, you have to name this as well. I would simply do tutorial server and click on add SSH key. And this is asking me for the two-factor authentication code. I will simply check it out on my phone. There you go. The key has been added. Now we have successfully connected our GitHub account. Let's clone some packages and all. So I have this right here on my profile. Where is it? So in the repositories, I have this simple webhook. So simply copy this one, the cloning command using SSH. Simply change the directory to var /www. This is the location where your usual codes are kept if you're having a static server or something. So I'll simply create a directory called cd. I will simply create a directory mkdir for API and cd into this API. And now I have to clone this repo here, right here, git clone, the cloning this, and where we will be cloning on this simple server. Yes, connect. I have already cloned. Let's check this. Yeah, I have this server.js. Let's do one thing. Let's open this up, nano server.js. Yes, you can see I have this whole code right here, and this is also having express mongoose package, express rate limit.env and all. And one thing I might be missing is that this mongo URI. I need this mongo URI right here. Let's skip adding the process env.env and all. Simply just replace the mongo URI right here. So remove the process env and thing, and simply placed the mongo URI that I have. Don't try to copy this. I would simply revoke the URL. Save this, and let's install all the packages. npm I. Let's do this. Okay, npm not found. We have to install the node as well. So for that, I will simply make a query. Install NodeJS on Ubuntu, or maybe yeah, Ubuntu. Yeah, let's first try this. apt install NodeJS. Okay, this already has this resource URL. In case you don't have the resource URL, you have to also add that. We had this, so no problem for now. Let's do npm-v. Okay, npm not found. Node-v. Node installed, but npm is not installed. Okay, we also have this node version, this, so we have to install this. Install a NodeJS on Ubuntu. Okay, let's see. Okay, I found it. I needed this syntax actually, the URL, so I'll get back here and I'll simply paste this, and let's save this in temp directory node_setup.sh, and let's check this, what we had just done, nano/temp node_setup.sh. you can see it has all the installation commands and all. bash/temp node_setup.sh, it will execute this thing. Okay, we are installing the 16th version, we don't need that. We have to install the 20th version, so I would simply do 2020 and node setup_20. so we have to install the version 20 of Node.js. So now let's do bash/temp/node_setup_20.sh. it will take some time to install. That's why it was showing this red lines, deprecation warning and all. So this has been installed. Now we can do apt install node.js. Why? This was just to install all the resource URL and all. Now you can simply install using apt. Now once node has been installed, you can simply do node-v and npm-v. you will be able to see npm, both npm and node has been installed on your system. Now what were we doing actually before installing this? I forgot. Yeah, we were installing all the packages. Let's do ls. Okay, so we have to check cat package.json. this is having express rate limit and mongoose as dependencies, so I'll simply do npmi and it will install all these packages. Okay, so all these packages has been installed. I'll simply do node server.js. cannot find package.env imported. Okay, we also have to import as we have imported .env inside the server.js. let me show you. nano server.js, we have imported .env, but we are not using it. We can also remove this simply. As we are not using it, we don't need to install .env. Yeah, now save this and do nano server.js. Sorry, not nano server.js, but node server.js. server running on port 8080. Yeah, we can check for the status for dev.ocode.dev DNS propagation. Okay, we have seen some progress on some regions, but still in our region it has not updated. So we can move forward with the IP itself for testing. And here we have to check for 8080 port, but it won't work. You have to allow this 8080 port as inbound address. So here you would find this security. In security, you have to go to the security groups. Here, edit inbound rules, and you have to add a rule, custom TCP, and the port would be 8080, and this would be in your IPv4, and add another rule, port would be 8080 and anywhere IPv6, and save all the rules. And now when I refresh, you will see this Node.js server is actually working on your instance on port 8080. Our Node.js server is running on port 8080 on this IP, but there is a high chance that this session is not persistent. As soon as we log out from the shell terminal, this session might fall down. For that, we need something persistent, and here comes PM2. Let me close this. We might have lost access to this. Let's restart this again. Login.shell and zoom in a bit. Again, go to /var/www, and here we created this API directory, cd API ls. Now we have to install PM2 process manager as global dependency. Seems like it's saying permission denied, so we have to log in as super user and then do npmi PM2-g. npm I pm2 -global. Yeah, it has been installed. Now once we have closed the session 8080, now if I refresh, this would seem like the session has been closed. Now let me first reload Nginx, -s, then reload. Okay, now let's do pm2 start server.js. Yeah, it will start this server. Let me refresh right here. It is saying really long way to go. We have now initiated the Node.js one. Now let's go back to one directory and let's create the frontend as well. We would be running that on dev site. For that, I would create a directory named dev, mkdir dev, and go to dev. Inside this, we would be installing any Next.js template. I have a very special Next.js template that I created the tutorial around. So I would go to repositories, and there is, where is it? Next.js. Let me search for the repository. Next. Yeah, here's this Next.js feature template. I can simply just clone this one or fork this, or simply choose to clone this. And let's do git clone whatever I have copied, and on this location this would simply clone this repository. If I do ls-a, you would be able to see all this .git readme, then all my pages directory and all everything that Next.js has is already copied in here. Now once for all, I have to do npm I and everything would be up. This is installing all the dependencies and all right now. Before starting the next app, we have to build it as well. So check for the package JSON, cat package JSON. I have the build script right here, npm run build. It would take some time to build the next app. Now it has been built. Now let's do pm2 start npm, and then we have to specify a name, hyphen name. Let's give it name next site and hyphen start. Seems like our next site is online right now. Let's try this on 3000 port, as the default port for Next.js is 3000, but this won't work again. We have to add this 3000 to our inbound rules. So here, edit inbound rules and add rule custom TCP. This would be 3000 for IPv4. Let's save this rule and go here, refresh. You can see our Next.js site is up and running on port 3000. And now let's confirm this. Our backend is running on 8080 and our frontend is running on port 3000. Now we have to add separate domains. This would be another subdomain. This would be again other subdomain as well. So we have to do this settings on Nginx. So come here and let's move to cd -etc/etc/nginx. Here if I do ls, you will see something like conf.d. There are separate different directories: sites enabled, sites available, conf.d, nginx.conf. If I simply go to cd nginx.conf, sorry, this is a file nginx.conf, you can see this is having a configurations for Nginx. Let's do ls again and cd to sites available, cd sites available, then there would be a default file. If I cat this or maybe nano this default, you would be able to see here is a server block that handles all the default configurations, and we have to create something similar to this inside this conf.d. Any configuration file that is created inside this conf.d with this .conf file extension would be considered as a configuration file for Nginx. Let's go to first /conf.d ls and let's copy /sites available default, then to api.conf. Too many arguments. We should not do cd. Instead this should be cp. Right, now if we do ls, you can see here is an api.conf, and if I do simply edit the file api.conf, you will see all this boilerplate that we have picked up from the default. And now we have to do some configurations. Now we should remove this listen blocks. Right, now instead of this root, we don't need the root as we are not fetching static files. We should remove this root as well, and this default files as well. Now instead of server name, we should add the subdomain that we would be using. This is for api.conf, so I would do api.ocode.dev. This should be our server name, and if you are using any domain, you could also do www.ocode.dev, but we are not using that main domain. So in location, we should not use this try files. Instead we should proxy this, so I would use proxy pass. Whatever comes to the root directory / move it to http localhost 8080. So what that actually means, so it means that whatever is coming to this api ocode.dev server on root, it should just forward this to the local host of the Nginx and its 8080 server, which is our API server, NodeJS server basically. Along with this proxy pass, we would have to add some properties as well. I have simply copied this. Let's copy this and paste it here. Yeah, let's fix the indentation as well. Yeah, I have fixed the indentation. Now save this, and along with this we also need to have the SSL as well. Now let's check for the A propagation. I think okay, it has not been done yet. If I click on this, it's not done yet. It takes quite a few hours of time. Let's move forward installing the SSL. For that we need certbot. Certbot is not found. Okay, snap is another package manager similar to apt. Snap install certbot. It would take some time. Certbot, what it does is that it lets you automatically renew the ls encrypt SSL. This revision of snap certbot was published using classic. Okay, we have to do the classic flag. Snap install -- classic certbot. It is now downloading it. Now once it has been installed, we can simply do certbot --nginx. We have to check for the configuration files as well. nginx -t. Proxy pass directive in invalid number of arguments, so we have to check for this as well. Nano api.conf. Let's check for proxy pass. What have we missed? Okay, we probably have missed this semicolon right here. Yeah, let's do nginx -t. Okay, the syntax is now okay, and let's do certbot --nginx. Enter the email address. So I would simply use my use2001 and @gmail.com. Yes, no, API yes, requesting a certificate for api.ocode.dev. It would take some time. Yeah, deploying certificate. It has been deployed. Now let's check for our conf file again. Nano api.conf. You would see some modifications right here. Below it would be listening to the 443 for HTTPS, and each line is having at the end managed by certbot. Basically these all lines are added by certbot. And now let's add some other things as well. In case you run into any trouble at all, you have to also define your log files as well. So let me exit from here and let me show you that. If you go to this var, then log basically, right? Then inside this you get this nginx cd nginx. If I do ls, This log file, access.log and error.log, are the base files for access logs and error logs. If I do tail-f access.log, you will be able to see it has all the access logs for all the subdomains. We haven't set the subdomains, that's for another part, but this has all the subdomains and all. So we have to also isolate all these error logs and access logs for all the subdomains, so it's very easy to debug all the systems. So simply move forward to etc nginx conf.d, and here nano api.conf, and here we have to mention right here, we have to mention access_log. What should be this? Var log nginx, the same location as we had before. And now inside this we would simply create api_logs.log. This should be api access logs, and similar to this I would create error log, error_log, which should be var log nginx api error logs.log. Right, now let me check for the syntax again. nginx-t. Okay, error log, unknown log format, error log. Okay, we have to check this. Error log nginx syntax error_log. Yeah, I think we are all good. What is problem here? Let's check for this. Let's check for nginx-t, which would give me the whole syntax file. I mean the configuration file, combined all the configuration files here. Okay, it is giving the same error, unknown log format. I think we've made the same mistake as before, so we'll simply do nano api.conf, and we probably forgot to put the semicolons. Right, in the excitement I actually missed this semicolons. Yeah, now test this. nginx-t. Yeah, the configuration is okay. Now let's do nginx-s reload, and let's check for the DNS propagation for api.ocode.dev. If I refresh, in some regions again the latest elastic IP has been updated, but for my region I guess this is using the old Vercel IPs as well. Why does it take so much of time? Let's refresh this. Refresh. This does not work, but as we are able to do this, we have to set up the uptime kuma in this time span. So let's check for all the configurations. Let's create the dev file configuration as well. This would be kind of similar to this API conf. So I would simply do API conf, copy this one to dev conf, and let's nano the dev conf file. We would simply have to edit the port number, which in our case for NextJS is 3000, and the server name is dev.ocode.dev, and the access logs and error logs are different. I would simply do dev.accesslogs and dev.errorlogs, and nothing else would be similar. And yes, we also have to remove this code provided by OpenSSL, sorry, certbot. Let's remove this, and we would also manually add them later. This has been removed, and in the bottom section we get another script as well that forwards our HTTP traffics to HTTPS. Okay, we have successfully moved this one, and let's test this. nginx-t successful, and we have to copy the same thing to our uptime kuma as well. So simply do copy dev.conf to what should I do, uptime.conf. Yeah, ls. Right, now do dev.conf. Now uptime.conf would be setting later, and now let's move forward to uptime kuma setup. So simply do uptime kuma docker. Here in the Docker Hub you would get this command, docker run -d, and let's copy this whole thing, and let's move forward to var www, where we set up all the things. Let's create a directory mkdir uptime ls, and let's move to uptime, and let's create a shell file here. I would do nano uptime init.sh, and let's paste the code that we just copied. What it does, it runs a container in detached mode -d it's necessary, and it always restarts, and port forwarding should be 3000 of uptime kuma to 3000 of our instance. Then volume mapping uptime kuma with uptime kuma's /app/data, and container name is explicitly defined as uptime kuma, and it is using base image this uptime kuma. Now exit, save. Now let's do a /uptime. Where is it? Have I saved it? Okay, /uptime init.sh, permission denied, sudo su bash uptime init.sh, docker not found. Okay, we have to install docker as well. Let me zoom in. If I do docker -v, you will be able to see docker is not installed. So we have to install docker, snap install docker, and later we probably have to install docker.io as well. So let's install docker. Now install docker.io as well. apt install docker.io. Yes. As we are running all the operations on our instance, this should be faster than my local computer. So there is an advantage that all the operations are really fast. So I have installed docker.io in a flash. Okay, now let's do this bash uptime init.sh. Unable to find image locally. Now it will pull the image from Docker Hub. So it might take some time, but you can see, look at the internet speed. It is really fast. And if you're using something like T2 medium or T2 large, it would be really fast. The network bandwidth, it is really fast. So it would be, the whole thing would be done in flash. So we have done this. So now let's do docker ps. You would be able to see the on port 3001 this uptime kuma is running. So now let me just simply get this, our elastic IP, and let's go to 3001. Okay, we have to edit the inbound rule again for 3001 and add rule 3001, and they should be for all blocks, and maybe IPv4, and save rules, refresh on 3001. Yeah, uptime kuma is right here. So you can start setting this up now. This has its own local.db file using SQLite. So once we have connected the subdomains, you won't have to create another account. This whole thing would be saved locally in .db file. So now I would create a file, a name, username named Soumya, and password should be my surname Mondal, and repeat Mondal, create. Password is too weak, so I have to add some characters. Yeah, save this one. Our uptime kuma is now live. You can add or monitor any applications you want. Click on add new monitor. You can simply add anything like HTTPS, or you can also monitor your Postgres database, then Redis, then Kafka producer, and all everything you can just simply look forward to from this uptime kuma dashboard. I would show you some basic things like let's monitor my main website IndGeek.com. Monitor this on 60 seconds of interval. Every 60 seconds it would be making a call to the server, and also show me certificate expiry notification. Create an ad let's add a tag indie, and color should be like blue. Add this, save. It would make the first ping to my domain, and it would say that yes, your domain is now live. You can also add your Redis servers and all, or simply add Redis, or maybe just leave Redis for now. Yeah, let's focus on other things. Let's set up the file like etc nginx conf.d. Here we have uptime.conf. Let's set up this as well. Nginx nano uptime conf. Yeah, here the port would be where is the port? Port is 3001, and the server name should be Uptime. Let me confirm this if this was Uptime or not. In Cloudflare, yeah, this was Uptime. Okay, Uptime, and we should create different access logs and error logs, Uptime access logs and Uptime error logs. Right, now let's check again if that was saved at all. Yeah, this was saved. Now let's run certbot again. Certbot -- Nginx. Yeah, now we have to also say that which domains SSL you want to renew. I would simply do comma separated values 1, 2 and 3. Let's click enter, and this would renew all the SSL for all of them. Expand successfully deployed certificate for api.ocode.dev, dev.ocode.dev and uptime.ocode.dev. Now you can simply check this. If I go below, you would be able to see that this block has been added, the HTTPS, and this forwarding block, port forwarding block, has been added as well. Now it's been a few hours since then. I've been impatiently waiting for the DNS propagation to take place, and now I can check this on CMD. I will simply ping this api.ocode.dev, which would give me the IP address of my EC2 Elastic IP, and you can see this is now working, and this also has this HTTPS SSL, all the domains right here, and this is the backend api.ocode.dev, this is the frontend dev.ocode.dev. However, we could have chosen better subdomain, but anyways, and in this uptime.ocode.dev we are running our uptime robot. So all these routes do work actually, and this API we should try this out. For that I will have to log in to our EC2 instance, and let me go to cd, let me zoom in a bit, cd var www/api. Here I had this server.js. I would simply do nano server.js. Yeah, there is a webhook on the /webhook path. Go to Postman. I have already written this /webhook, and there's this message. This is from tutorial, and I would simply change this message like IndGeek is awesome. Simply send this, and this would return a status 200 OK, and the message is message saved successfully. So this is all about the deployments. We have successfully deployed front-end, back-end and uptime trackers on different subdomains, and you could do the same with different domains as well. And if you're still connected to this video, I really appreciate your patience on this one, and have a good day.